Now, today I'm going to tell you the story of a king and his minister. Okay. Now, one day, this king and his minister were both watching a magic show. You must have seen a magic show, many magic shows. Now, in a magic show, is there real magic that you're seeing? No. There is no real magic in a magic show. I think even a child knows that. But what you are seeing in every trick that the magician performs, what is really at work is the hard work and the practice that the magician has put in to perform all the tricks that he performs, right? Now, every child knows this, that there is no real magic in the magic show, but the king who was watching that show, every time he saw a trick, he would say, Jadoo, magic. Huh? And he would go into ecstasy. And the minister would occasionally try to tell him, no, Your Majesty, this is not magic. This is just the hard work and practice put in by the magician, just trying to explain the facts to the king. Suddenly, that king lost his temper. Stop contradicting me. I know what I am saying. The fact is, you are only jealous of the magician. How dare you contradict me? Am I the king or are you the king? And he got angrier and angrier and angrier. And then he shouted to his guards, guards, take my minister and lock him up in jail. How dare he contradict his king? Now the poor guards were absolutely amazed, but they could do nothing because the king's orders had to be obeyed. And so the minister was dragged off to the jail, but before he was dragged off, the king looked out of the window, saw a lot of cows and buffaloes outside in a big open space that there was outside the palace. And among the cows and buffaloes, there was a calf. And he said, take that calf also and lock him up in jail with my minister. Animal and man, neither of them has any brains. Who was the one who actually had no brains? I leave you to guess. But anyway, he shouted, take my minister and take that calf and lock them both up in jail. And so the poor minister was locked up in jail. And what was his crime? Merely that he had pointed out the truth to his king. Now, let me describe that jail, that prison, in which the minister and that calf were both locked up. There was a room, not very large, and in one corner of the room, there were stairs going up to a locked door. This is a jail, so obviously there has to be a locked door. There was a locked door, then there were 20, 25 steps coming down, and then there was a smallish room, and both the minister and the calf are locked up in that room. And for how long, nobody knows. Now, there was no problem about their food. Both the minister and the animal were fed adequately every day, but they were locked up. They couldn't get out of that jail. And for how long they were locked up was up to the king. Now, in such circumstances, you can imagine that it's very easy to break down and to cry and seek forgiveness from the king and to worry what will happen if the king doesn't let us out of jail. But from the very first day, the minister did not panic. He did not shout and scream and beg to be taken in front of the king. He assessed the situation. Now I'm locked up here with this animal. What should I do? And from the very first day, he picked up this calf, and this calf was already bigger and heavier than a big dog. He picked up the calf and he walked up the 25 steps up to the closed door, carrying the calf in his arms. He went up the steps, then came down the steps, up the steps, down the steps. Every day, 3 or 4 or 5 times he did this. And he and the calf were locked up in that jail for many, many months because the king simply forgot about it. And in those months, every day, the minister walked up the stairs carrying this animal, up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs, down the stairs, several times a day. And in that process, you can imagine what happened to his muscles, muscles of his arms and his legs. And that animal, did the animal stay the same size? No. He grew bigger and heavier, but still every day the minister was able to carry him up the stairs, down the stairs, up the stairs, down the stairs. And after many, many months, when suddenly the king remembered his minister and he said, "Oh my God, is he dead or alive, my poor minister? Oh, that poor man, please somebody get him out of jail, get him out of jail." And the king thought that the minister would come in a very bad condition, thin and miserable and weak, and he'll come and fall at my feet. But is this the way the minister came in front of the king? No. The minister came carrying that big animal in his arms. He walked into the presence of the king. And what did the king say? The king stared and the king said, "Jadoo, magic, magic." And what did the minister say? The minister smiled a small smile and he bent his head respectfully and he said, "No, Your Majesty, it is not magic. You were kind enough to have this animal locked up with me in jail. And what you see is no magic. It's only the result of a little hard work and practice from my side." And that is what the minister said. And did you like the story? Tell me. Okay? I shouldn't say okay, na? वो काट देना, काट सकती हो ना?